Moving on, in the aftermath of the May-Day collision between a passenger jet and a military helicopter over Washington, D.C., a rescue mission has now turned into a recovery operation, with no survivors expected. The American Airlines jet and the U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter crashed into the Potomac River near Reagan Washington National Airport after the collision. American Eagle Flight 5342 was flying to the U.S. capital from Wichita, Kansas, and the incident occurred as it was approaching to land at the Reagan National Airport. Ahead of the crash, controllers warned the helicopter it was on course to collide with the passenger jet. Footage captured a small aircraft heading towards a well-lit descending plane before fireball can be seen. Both plunged into the Potomac River, with the plane fuselage splitting into 3 different pieces. The helicopter has now been seen at the surface of the river. As per officials, 60 passengers and 4 crew members were aboard the flight, while 3 U.S. Army personnel were on the helicopter. Officials say they do not expect any survivors from the crash, and they are working to recover all 67 bodies from the river. According to experts, water conditions were cold enough for hypothermia to set in within 30 minutes. The plane was carrying several athletes and coaches from U.S. figure skating as well as 2 Chinese citizens. The District of Columbia Fire Chief has said that 28 bodies have been recovered from the river so far. A large-scale recovery operation is underway and boats are still looking for victims and wreckage. The cause of the crash is under investigation. The National Transportation Safety Board has said that it will leave no stone unturned in the probe. Officials have said both aircraft were on standard flight patterns on a clear night with good visibility. They were in an airspace that is extremely busy with military and commercial craft. But Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has said that the crash was absolutely preventable. According to the New York Times, staffing in the airport's air traffic control tower was not normal. And that's because there was one controller who was allegedly monitoring both planes and helicopters, jobs that typically are assigned to 2 controllers. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has said that those aboard the helicopter were a fairly experienced crew. And President Donald Trump has said that the American Airlines plane was doing everything right, blaming the helicopter's pilot for the collision.
You could have slowed down the helicopter substantially. You could have stopped the helicopter. You could have gone up. You could have gone down. You could have gone straight up, straight down. You could have turned. You could have done a million different maneuvers. For some reason, it just kept going and then made a slight turn at the very end. And by that time, it was too late.
Trump has blamed the diversity, equity and inclusion policies under Barack Obama and Joe Biden for poor aviation safety standards. Building on his wider attacks on DEI practices, he has signed an aviation order rolling back federal diversity initiatives.
Some different firefighters that were running out of the water.
I put safety first. Obama, Biden and the Democrats put policy first. And they put politics at a level that nobody's ever seen, because this was the lowest level. Their policy was horrible, and their politics was even worse.
How you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash?
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level.